Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're finally talking about Blue Beetle. I know I'm very late to this review, but you know, been busy, we got a ton of stuff happening, but I did see the movie on opening night, and I did want to talk about it, because it's a movie that seems like it's going to flop, but it's really fun. So yeah, let's just get started, I guess, with Blue Beetle. There are no spoilers in this one. I'm undecided if I'm gonna make a spoiler review or not. I'll think about it. If you guys want to see that, let me know. If you don't want to see it, let me know. But yeah, so let's just get started, I guess. So, I think this movie's great. I think it's a whole lot of fun. Action is great. I think there's a lot of comedy in that really lands for me that I think is really enjoyable and made me laugh a lot throughout this movie. And the characters, the cast and the characters are awesome. Not only did I like every character, but I also thought everyone was perfectly casted. Blue Beetle himself, Jaime Reyes, was so much fun. He was so likable. I'm someone who I know very little about Blue Beetle. Most of my knowledge of Blue Beetle comes from Injustice 2. And even then, he was never my go-to character when it comes to Injustice 2. However, this movie made me like him way more than I already did. And it kind of makes me want to read some Blue Beetle comics, which I've also never read before. I know, how dare I. So that is awesome. And the actor who portrays him, I forget his name. I'm so sorry. I know he's the guy from Cobra Kai. But he does a phenomenal job. Like, he is perfect for this role. I honestly can't see anyone else playing this character. He does such a great job, and it makes me want to see Cobra Kai now. It's been one of those shows that's been on my watch list for, like, since it came out, so I gotta get around to watching it. But seeing him in this movie makes me want to watch it even more now. He was phenomenal. And then the rest of the cast was great too. Jenny was an enjoyable character. I thought her and Jaime had great chemistry. I think the relationship was a bit rushed a little bit, but their chemistry was still phenomenal. The entire family was a lot of fun, especially George Lopez. He was hilarious, which, I mean, it's not really a surprise now. But what's cool too is that not only was he hilarious, but he was also able to deliver some emotions too. So yeah, this is a movie I really enjoyed. Now, obviously, it's not a perfect movie. Like, I think the villains in this movie are only okay. The main villain, whose name I'm blanking on, the person in charge of the Korg Industries or whatever it's called, I forget her name. That villain, I thought she was just meh. Like, I don't even remember her name. So, like, she was an okay villain. Jenny's aunt, that's all I can remember. And then, and then the other villain in the movie, whose name I also forget, who has similar powers to Blue Beetle, it seems like the best way to describe it, was another okay villain. They did give him a backstory in the end, during the finale of it, which was actually a surprisingly emotional backstory. But I feel like the villain, they still don't do enough with the villain to make him, like, great. Like, I still don't even remember his name. So okay, villains. I see a lot of people saying, like, this movie is generic or predictable. It's a lot like every other superhero origin story, and I mean, yes, kinda. Like, obviously, yeah, there's gonna be similarities with other superhero origin stories, because there are a lot of superhero origin stories that are very similar. But I think this movie does a great job with that origin story, and it does a great job introducing me to the character Blue Beetle, a character who, like I said, know very little about, other than the Injustice 2 stuff. The only other thing I knew is that there were at least 2 Blue Beetles. There was Korg, and then there was Jaime Reyes. That's pretty much all I knew about the character, and this movie makes me, but he's never been, like, my favorite character, and this movie makes me love the character. Kind of reminds me of Shazam in a way, where Shazam was a character, I knew who he was. I knew that he was Billy Batson, he could turn to Shazam, but I've never really been a big Shazam fan. I saw the movie, I love Shazam now. A similar thing happens with this, and it's awesome. I really do enjoy this movie so much. And I know this movie was actually originally meant to be a streaming movie, and despite the fact that I do think it's going to flop, I personally, as someone who likes to see movies in theaters, love that they put it in the theater. It's something I've been wanting ever since they announced it. Like, back when they announced Blue Beetle and Batgirl straight to streaming DC movies, I was like, no. Put Batgirl and Blue Beetle in theaters. As we know, Batgirl did not go to theaters. Shoot, it didn't even go to HBO Max. It was completely scrapped. But Blue Beetle, I was so excited because I was like, oh yeah, they're putting it in theaters. I mean, I wasn't like as hyped as I was for other movies because of the fact that I wasn't the biggest Blue Beetle fan, but to me, it was going to theaters. That's obviously a good thing. And the CGI surprisingly looks really good for a movie that was supposed to go straight to streaming and has a lower budget. Like, there were very, very few scenes that I was like, oof, that CGI. Most of the CGI was like really good, and what's crazy is that I'm pretty positive this movie is cheaper than The Flash, and this movie was meant for streaming, unlike The Flash, which was always meant for the theater. And the CGI is way better in this movie than it was in The Flash. Like, that's kind of crazy. The Flash's CGI, big budget, always going to go to theaters, has worse CGI than Blue Beetle, which has a smaller budget and was originally going to go to streaming. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, so the question of should you see it in theaters, once again, this is one of those movies where I feel like it depends, because, like, on the one hand, I could see why people might not want to go see it in theaters, because of the fact that maybe they've never heard of Blue Beetle, if you don't want to spend the money to see it in theaters for a movie that was going to be streaming anyway. But I am going to say that if you are a DC fan, or Blue Beetle, definitely Blue Beetle fans have to see this in theater. Like, if Blue Beetle fans have not seen this in the theater already, then are you really a Blue Beetle fan? But DC fans should definitely see this in theaters, and honestly, if you just have the money and you want to go have fun at the theater, go see this in the theaters. And I'm not just saying that because I really want this movie to get a sequel. I mean, I said the same thing about Shazam 2, because I really wanted a third Shazam. I highly doubt that's happening. But go see this movie and help us get a sequel. Now, by the sounds of it, this Blue Beetle we will see him again in the DCU, because he's the first DCU character while not being a DCU movie. That's so confusing. But yeah. Now, I personally think that they should do... This is off topic, I know, but I think what James Gunn should do is do something kind of like what the CW with Supergirl at first, where they should say he's in a separate universe. He's not in the DCEU, nor is he in the DCU. He's in Elseworlds. We get a trilogy of Blue Beetle, and then at the end of the third movie, pluck him from his Elseworlds universe and put him in the DCU. I don't think they're going to do that. I have no idea what they have planned for Blue Beetle. All I know is that please give me a sequel. Now, and also, if you're curious, there are 2 end credit scenes. One does set up a future, so I'm holding out hope that if James Gunn allowed this mid-credit scene to set something up, then that means he plans on following through on that, because he has removed end credit scenes before. That way, it's not setting up nothing. But he also allowed the end credit scene in Shazam 2 to happen, and I would be shocked if we got a Shazam 3. I hope we do, but I'd be shocked. So we'll see what happens. But if you are interested, I say definitely stick around for that mid-credit scene. And then there is an end-credit scene, which is a joke that not everyone will get, but it was still a pretty funny joke. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Blue Beetle, at least without spoilers. Like I said, I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna do spoilers or not. We'll have to wait and see. If you have to tell me below, do you want to hit spoiler review or not? It'll probably be on the shorter side, so like I said, I don't have too much to say about it. But yeah, so just a quick overview. I love the movie. I thought it was super fun, super enjoyable, funny, great action, great cast, great characters. Love the family dynamic. Obviously, the villains are okay, and there are similarities to other superhero origin stories, but I don't think that should affect your enjoyment of it, especially if you're a Blue Beetle or DC fan. So yeah, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. If you like this video, please hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, please start hitting the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I post, and go live. And yeah, go give Blue Beetle your money so we can get a sequel. Thanks for watching. Bye.